Statistically speaking, if you're not feeling lonely at the moment, someone close to you is. Stay tuned for some thoughts about how to support someone in your life who you suspect is feeling lonely. Yuma, I'm Phil McAuliffe. I'm the loneliness guy, and this is a Connection Espresso, a mini episode designed to give your mind, your heart, and your soul a quick connection boost as you, a beautiful gay man experiencing loneliness, go about your day. Let's get to it. Hello, YouTube. So grateful that you're joining me here for this episode. Hope you're going really well. And this is like a really common question that I get. How can I support someone who I think is feeling lonely? I'm really glad that you're here for it. Let's go. Like every episode, this Connection Espresso comes to you from Canberra, Australia's capital city, which sits on the traditional land of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples. I want to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of the land upon which this episode was recorded, edited, and uploaded. I want to extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening. Secondly, you're awesome. Dear espresso drinker, be you listening on a podcast service or watching on YouTube. I want to recognize the courage you've shown in pressing play on this episode because, let's be honest, you don't go looking for content on loneliness unless you recognize that you, or in this case, someone in your life, is feeling lonely. This can be a big step. It can feel like a big step. And I want to say that I see you and I recognize your courage. Loneliness is everywhere. And depending on what study or source we use, we know that between a third and 2/3 of people are experiencing loneliness right now. This is a staggering statistic in and of itself, but we know that humans who identify as part of the LGBTIQA plus communities report yet higher rates of loneliness than other sectors of society. Clearly, loneliness is a significant social problem. And there are 2 points that I invite you to take note of right now. The first, if you're not experiencing loneliness now, you will at some point. Like hunger and thirst, loneliness is part of the human condition, and pretending that you're somehow immune to loneliness really isn't helpful. And secondly, if you're not experiencing loneliness right now, someone in your social circle, friends, family, colleagues at work, neighbors, the guy you're chatting to on a hookup app is. Recently, one of the members of the team at The Loneliness Guy asked me if I had any suggestions for talking about loneliness because they suspected one of their friends was lonely. Of course, I had some suggestions and I'm going to give them to you right now too. First, respect the stigma of loneliness, but talk about loneliness anyway. I remember the terror and shame I felt when someone in my life asked me if I was lonely. I was beginning to wrestle with my loneliness, but I wasn't really ready for someone to ask me really directly about it. The best way I can describe it was that the terror and the shame I felt was akin to someone outing me from the closet before I was ready. And the stigma of loneliness shows up like this, and the stigma can prevent us from talking about something that clearly makes us uncomfortable because of what we fear it could mean about us. For loneliness, that fear can be essentially voicing thoughts and feelings that say that we don't believe that we're worthy of love and belonging. That's really heavy and can be very confronting. It can also make the person experiencing loneliness, just as it did for me, double down on wearing a mask that showed that everything was fine and awesome and nobody had any reason to worry. And the thing about stigmas is that they reduce the more they're spoken about. Talk about loneliness, share content, mine or someone else's, about loneliness on your socials. Talk about loneliness with friends, family, colleagues, when and if the topic comes up. Honestly, my work provides a great entree to start these conversations. Secondly, show up, step in, invite your friend out for coffee or for a walk or for a workout. Text them, call them for a chat, talk about nothing, talk about something, ask them how they are, reach out. Inviting them to go and do something with you is a great idea. Doing something like a walk, a workout, or something together can be less intimidating than sitting across from each other and talking. But they're going to be very likely to decline invitations to go out. Loneliness does that. When I'm in the middle of a loneliness experience, I can desperately want to be seen and to be included, but I turn down invitations to connect when they come. I then go back to, even after doing this, I then go back to wondering why no one is calling me or I'm not being invited to places. Third, hold space. If they do start to talk about experiencing loneliness, and it's often in response to something where loneliness is brought up in a general context and it's not confrontational, listen. Put the phone away. Be with them in that moment. And please resist the temptation to respond with pity. An example being saying something like, "Oh, you poor thing." Pity sounds like caring, but it's putting emotional distance between you. It's like, well, think of it this way. It's like it's like that big step back and that look of disgust you give when someone sneezes near you. Do you want a great response? Say something like, "Me too. I feel that sometimes too." Share your experience of loneliness without dismissing or belittling theirs. Remember, when we engage in competitive or comparative loneliness, we always find a way to lose. Also, please don't go solving their loneliness for them. Don't start Googling clubs for them to join or therapists for them to go and see. That can come later. Simply sit with them. There might be tears. It may be awkward and might make you uncomfortable and might make for tough listening. But listen, you must. Simply listening can be deeply therapeutic. And while some situations absolutely call for professional assistance, you don't need to be a therapist to be therapeutic. Finally, repeat steps 1 through 3 for that person. And when needed, repeat for others who you care about deeply. That's not something that you need to do for everyone, just something that you need to do for those who you care about deeply. Remember, you're also worthy of having people show up and support you when you're experiencing loneliness in the same way that you're showing up for other people. Ask for others to step up and step in when you need them. And by this way, you're providing a great example. And don't look now, but it means that you're doing connection. Of course, there's so much more that I could have said in this episode, but I need to wrap this up. But please tell me, what did I miss? What strategies and techniques have worked for you? That's it for this espresso. Be sure to check out all my work and services destigmatizing loneliness and promoting authentic connection for gay men globally, for gay men like you and your friends through my website, thelonelinessguide.com. And a big hint to start step one, please like, comment, and share this episode on your socials so it reaches more gay men experiencing loneliness and lets them know, just as you now know, that they're not alone as a gay man experiencing loneliness. Thank you so much for joining me for this espresso shot. Until next time, take care of yourself, yada, and enjoy your day. Thanks, YouTube. Lovely to have you. Please put comments, thoughts, all the things in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things so you don't miss any content. Thanks so much for being here. And I shall find the right button to end this recording, and I'll see you next time.